So, guys, I want to take this opportunity once again to welcome you back to the conversation we had previously, and where we were discussing matters to do with retirement. Just to do a recap of possibly what we covered, we were talking of if you are young enough, whether you are employed or not employed, or rather you are in business, it's very, very critical for you to think of that future from the beginning. And the simple way you could possibly do that is by taking up something we call individual pension plan, which can help you accumulate a complementary basket, so that whatever your employer possibly will have put forth towards your retirement can possibly be revamped by your individual pension plan, and that money is for one of the most critical element in retirement. And what we are talking today is on senior medical covers or retirees medical cover, because whether you agree with me or not, one thing is for sure. What makes retirement so expensive is the cost of medication, because you understand that by the time you are hitting possibly age 65, 70, your immunity has really weakened, and small attacks from simple illnesses can lead you being hospitalized maybe for 2 days, 3 days. And that is why it's very, very important for us to prepare for that cost. So we said in our previous video that three things are very, very important during your retirement. And let me address this especially to men. What you will discover is ladies are more advantaged, and I'm talking this from experience, real life, because what you will find is, if for example you have children who are already grown up, as a mother you can go for 1 week to your firstborn, another week to your secondborn. By the time maybe you are going to the thirdborn, or that is month gone. So the main question is, what happens to Mzee who is left in the village? So as a man, it's very, very difficult for you to even consider spending a night maybe to your son's house, or even your daughter's place. And that is why I want to prepare dads, so that when you are possibly hitting that age, if you have the money, there's a likelihood that your wife may not go to visit your children. I'm not saying it's bad or it's wrong. What I'm saying is this: if you are a man and you don't have money when you are that age, sometimes you become so exposed, so prone, and for those people who have that age and are seeing what is currently happening, they can understand this. But our main focus today is on why it is important to look at your retirement medical cover. From a person who is deep in insurance, I can tell you, those people who are between age 60 to 70, the cost of buying a medical cover is almost double of those people who are between age 50 to 60, and almost triple of those who are in the bracket of 18 to about 35 years. That is why you need to prepare that, or to prepare for that, because that is if you want to live longer, you need at least something that can give you peace of mind, so that you don't need to worry that if something happens, what would I do, what would my family do? And I can tell you, there's a likelihood that if you have a security, or let's say you have something like medical cover in place, you are not likely to get sick, because sometimes we even get sick because of worry, yeah, or thinking of what might happen if something like an illness hits. So to dissect what medical cover for seniors have, I want to tell you what insurance really consider while designing plans or medical plans or medical insurance for those people who are at that age bracket. So one of the things they look at is the likelihood of you having pre-existing conditions, and we know that illnesses like diabetes, high blood pressure, yeah, your weakened immunity, it's more likely to be there when you are at that age bracket. So you will find insurance companies designing, yeah, a medical cover with that or those elements in mind, and they raise a little bit their premiums so that even if 10 or 20 of you happens to get sick, at least they would not go for losses. But the most important thing as a retiree, yeah, and I want to go back a little bit so that we can work together. If you're, let's say you are 30 years, you have like 30 more years to prepare for this inevitable cost. And I'm saying, I'm telling you this so that you can take advantage of the existing laws that are there in regards to post-retirement medical, and it's very, very easy. Recently, the government passed a law giving you some tax break, or what we would call tax relief, for people who are putting something aside for their post-retirement medical. And what basically you need to do is you just need to approach maybe an insurance company, and you tell them, please design for me a post-retirement medical cover so that I can be putting something small every month. By the time I'm hitting possibly 60, I will have accumulated enough money to take care of my post-retirement medical. By so doing, you get that tax break. And how you do it, you just notify your employer that I have these post-retirement medical savings that I have with company A, and they can relieve you of directly, yeah. So that is for people who are yet to retire. But those people who have now retired, I want to advise you on what possibly you need to look at while choosing a right medical cover for seniors. One of the things you need to look at is the panel of hospitals, because you might take up a plan. Unfortunately, when something happens, the hospitals that can really take care of your card are only either the tier 2, tier 3 hospitals. That is why you need to sit down with someone who have at least a basic understanding of medical cover. So that is one. Number two, look at the sublimit, yeah. So in every medical cover or in every insurance company, they have set different sublimits, yeah, for depending on the category of medical cover you've taken. And I want to give you a simple scenario. If let's say you've taken a medical limit of 2 million. 2 million does not necessarily mean that if you get sick, the insurance company would pay the whole 2 million. What actually happens is that every illness has been allocated some amount of money, and mostly they use what we call the percentage. They tell you that yes, your cover limit is 2 million. Although it is 2 million, the maximum you are allowed to utilize in case you have been hospitalized out of maybe diabetes or something like a pre-existing condition like arthritis, the maximum we allow you to spend in this card is maybe 50% or maybe 30%. Some others give you full limit, but of course you'll have to add something extra. There are those insurance companies that does not give you some limits on those especially the pre-existing conditions, yeah. So that is on sublimit, but because this one can take a lot of time to explain, I would advise you to just write for me in the description below the word plan, and I can help you. I can reach out after this so that we can have a one-on-one conversation regarding medical. Now back to our main factors to consider when choosing a good medical cover is something called the availability of the ads or other benefit like ambulance, yeah, and for evacuation either by air, by road. That is why because different insurance companies gives you different limit. For example, ambulance, they may say for this particular cover we give you a 1 year limit of maybe 20,000 or 50,000 or even 100,000, depending with the insurance company. Something very, very important is on premiums again. Yeah, so different insurance companies charges differently, especially for people who are considered senior. By senior, I mean 65 years and above, and that is very, very important. Then there's something that is quite interesting, for illnesses that are let's say not really pre-existing but are newly diagnosed. Some insurance policies, especially for seniors, will tell you that if within 3 months or if within 6 months you are diagnosed with this terminal illness, the maximum we could pay is this much. There are other covers or other categories within possibly the same insurance that can waive off those limitations, especially when it comes to what we call this newly diagnosed condition. Something else that I feel it's important is the waiting period. Different insurance companies provides different waiting periods. There are those insurance that tells you we can actually waive off the waiting period, so that if you take up our medical today, the next week if something happens, we can be able to pay the bill without necessarily going back to the condition clauses. There are others that sets different waiting periods for different conditions. For example, if it's a surgery, if it's something like a pre-existing condition, they may tell you for us to be able to pay, you must at least wait for 1 year, others waits for 6 months. If it's for accidental, the majority of the insurance company doesn't really have the waiting period for what we call the accidents. Yeah, so I feel that is the most important. But what I would advise you is consider sitting down with an insurance agent or someone with an understanding of how the medicals are structured. But above that is during the claim process. Yeah, so what you'll discover is majority of insurance companies, especially for medical, doesn't really have a problem with claims, but there are others that are notorious. Once you take up the cover, you need someone to follow up. Yeah, so if you have any question, you feel free. I have put my number so that you can reach out and I can give you a free consultation, and we could discuss different categories so that you take up something that can help you. And those people who are still young, I can also help you set up a post-retirement medical cover somewhere. Somewhere you could be putting something very small for the purposes of saving up for your medical cover. So the conversation is not over. Next time we shall touch on the medical covers now, generally for people who are below that age of 65. So until then, may God bless you and bye bye.